All right.
Just a quick
can someone put the
thanks for your
preseason changes on the Reddit?
Worlds made it even more special. Much love, XTD.
Someone says and then links a tweet, and then it's unable to be viewed. Read the chat. Oh. Oh my god, it's a flashbang. Bro, I just want to play League, like... Should we wait until it actually comes out? 2024 gameplay spotlight. Here we go, the video. I know some things that they changed the map and they changed some things.
Out with the old, in with the new. Welcome one and all to season 2024. We've got quite a few changes to share, from terrain adjustments to new monsters and items.
Wait, this isn't on live, right? This is coming next year, or?
Ready to see what's coming? Let's get into it.
When is this coming out? January. Yeah, January. Okay.
Wait, where are we? Oh, it's top lane. These walls are different, and would you look at that? The brush is now in the middle of the river. Well, that'll make for a trickier gank path from...
When you miss that one hair shaving your fucking chin.
Would you look at that? The brush is now in the middle of the river. Well, that'll make for a trickier gank path from jungle, so you top laners can focus more on your lane opponent instead of hungry junglers. We've got terrain changes across the entire map, actually. Like in mid lane, the brush is farther back from the lane now, and we've adjusted the walls to both red and blue sides for better symmetry. Overall, these adjustments should make it a little safer to play a variety of champions in mid lane, especially those mages with 0 dashes. Speaking of safety, we've also changed the walls opposite Baron and Dragon Pit for a bit more security while you're moving between lanes through the jungle. Finally, in bot lane, there's a new gank path on red side to make the map more symmetrical. We've also shifted the brush to the middle of the river so both teams can more reasonably fight for vision control. Look alive down there. New jungle paths aren't the only thing to keep your eye on this season. A new Void monster has found its way to the Rift. During the early game, a camp of 3 Void grubs will now spawn inside the Baron Pit. When you attack a grub, smaller Void mites appear to join the fight. Killing one of the Void grubs grants a permanent buff to your entire team that deals damage over time when attacking turrets. For every grub you slay, the buff becomes more powerful. After the first 3 grubs are killed, 3 more will spawn a few minutes later. If your team manages to kill all 6, then you unlock the maximum buff. When you attack a turret, you'll apply the damage over time and spawn some Void mites of your own to help take it down. Keep in mind that these grubs are an incremental camp, not all or nothing. So slaying even 1 can give your team a small boost and keep the enemy from collecting all 6. At 14 minutes, any remaining grubs disappear and the beloved Rift Herald enters the game with a fresh new look. Maybe they're born with it, maybe it's the hideously vile influence of the Void from whence they came. If you slay the Herald, you can summon them as before to march down lane and whack turrets. Or, any member of your team can hop on board to play Summoner's Drift, steering the monster as they charge forward like a battle sled. Ramming Herald into a turret this way deals some extra damage, and you can run into enemy champions to damage and knock them up. On collision with terrain or a turret, the driver pops out nearby, and the ability to steer goes on cooldown.
Don't let Baus don't let Baus play the game when this shit's available, bro. He is gonna be fucking drifting into their base with this and drifting out of it with Scion ult.
This cooldown resets if you hit a turret, but takes longer if you hit a wall. All aboard the Shelly demolition train. Now let's talk about... what was that? Baron Nashor, Voidborn Tyrant of the Rift, is back and badder than ever before. When he enters the game, you'll know it. Baron takes one of 3 forms when he emerges. Each form provides the same classic buff, but alters how he fights and determines the shape of his pit. But wait, there's more. With Baron's entrance, the Void's influence spreads across the map, infusing the Scuttle Crab, Brambleback, and Sentinel with dark power. Voidborn Scuttle Crab becomes tankier and tougher to kill. On death, she sends out a massive burst like a Scryer's Bloom, revealing all enemy champions and wards in a large area. Bet you didn't see that coming. Likewise, the Voidborn red and blue buff require a little more muscle to take down, but in exchange, they grant the buff to every teammate who's alive at the time. So no more fighting over who gets blue buff, alright?
Well, that's super strong though.
Speaking of cool new buffs, let's talk Infernal Rift. All versions of the Elemental Rift have been refreshed to accommodate the new base terrain, with Mountain Rift losing a few walls that didn't quite fit anymore. But we've changed up Infernal Rift completely. We don't have gameplay footage quite ready at this time, so let me paint you a word picture. Instead of a burned out fire escape, Infernal Rift will scatter infernal cinders all across the map. Picking up these cinders gives a small burst of move speed and a stat buff. On death, half your collected cinders explode out for others to snag for themselves. I mean, you weren't using them anymore, right?
Interesting.
As in years past, we've made some item adjustments for this new season. Like, a lot of adjustments. For one, mythic items are out. Gone. Poof. In their place, we're adding, removing, and updating a bunch of items across several champion classes. Mages, assassins, tanks, enchanters, fighters, and marksmen will all notice quite a few changes when they gear up this season. For example, the new Storm Surge for those AP assassins and burst mages who really want to shock the enemy. In addition, we've overhauled the support quest items. Supports now have a singular item they pick up at the start of the game with minimal stats. You earn gold with this item by executing minions of any type for a flat amount, or hitting enemy champions with abilities or attacks. At the middle tier, you unlock refilling wards as before. And when you reach the final tier, you can choose between several upgraded items to suit your playstyle. Whether you prefer protecting your carry or more aggressive support tactics, we've got you covered. While you're running around the new map with new monsters and new items, you should keep an eye out for old grudges. We've added a handful of champion quests that will trigger
champion quests are
champs
cool.
are in the same game. Defeating your quest rival on the enemy team will grant a tiny buff. While it won't significantly impact the game, it'll be a nice reward for your Renekton mains to finally stick it to Nasus. Many of the changes we've made this year are aimed at making gameplay mechanics and systems easier to understand. This goal includes a lot of adjustments mentioned previously, or smaller changes like simplified tooltip language. We also just want to make it feel better.
They still have Zhonya's, but it's on Seeker's Arm Guard. It's not on stopwatch.
You might notice the music changing throughout the game based on where you are or what you're doing. Baron boss music, anyone? And now you can celebrate or commiserate with your teammates in a language everyone understands, the fist bump. Okay, that was a lot to cover. In summary, new terrain means new gank paths in every lane, Void Grubs are now a thing, you can now drive the Rift Herald into battle, Baron looks scarier, and the Void is everywhere. Infernal Rift is totally changing, there's a bunch of new items, some champs are bringing their beef onto the Rift, and fist bumps explode into sparkles and fireworks. Phew, got all that? Good. If you want all the nitty-gritty details, we unpack everything in the article linked below. So study up, friends, and we'll see you in January when Season 2024 kicks off.
I like the changes. I like them. I like the changes. I think in the last few preseasons, the changes weren't big enough to make anything happen. All that happened was items would change or dragons would change. I like that they've just fucking thrown the whole game out the window. I think the biggest thing that I like the most is mid lane. That mid lane looks really good. I like mid lane being more open. That changes the game a lot more, I think. This looks... Did they make the map bigger or something? Is the map overall bigger? I don't get it. Like, this looks fucking huge. Wow, this open space is really insane. Mid lane is a really wide lane now. All that you'd used to do in mid is you would just... Because it's a narrow lane, you just ward one side and hug that side. But now it looks so... You're just short. Ah, yeah, good one. Now it looks so open. Also, this bot gank path looks really awkward. Something about this just looks weird. Like, that just looks... I know they're trying to make the map symmetrical, but that just looks fucked up. What is that? He's right next to his tower. That's crazy to me. I feel like bot lane... They've opened up another gank path for bot, and they've closed a gank path for top when the game is already bot-centric. But to be honest... I think the way the game works, you can never stop the game being played around bot. Why? Very simple. No matter how do I describe this? No matter how strong you add... Okay, how do I describe this? No matter how many powerful available objectives are topside, the fact that bot side has a numbers advantage means that no matter how strongly you draft for top 3v3, having bot push into top is more important, because numbers advantage is always more important than champion strength. In most cases. Does that make sense? So no matter what, you'll play the game from bot. Because if your support can be there, and they have stronger 3-men, like you're 4v3, so it just doesn't matter. So no matter how strong topside objectives will be, you'll always play for bot to be there first. So yeah, I think lane swap could be a thing, but I mean, I think if Riot wants to, they can just be like, oh, you're lane swapping? Top tower is now invulnerable for the first 5 minutes of the game. I don't know, something like that. This, I don't know, this gank path looks really weird to me. I hate this gank path. Something looks really awkward about that. I know they're trying to make it symmetrical from blue side, but I would want to know where the vision cutoff is. Maybe if it's like here, it's okay. But this is... One ward stops it. Yeah, but I feel like this brush is really easy to control. So the thing that is scaring me about this one thing is this brush, right? If you're under tower bot, what you could do if you're losing bot is you could just freeze, hold the lane here, and jungle has to push out. If you have a pink
Mr.
here,
Strimmer, just
or
a
a
little
pink...
reminder that vitamins are very important for you. So better start playing Suikar. XDD.
If you have a pink here, it's hard to contest the pink because of the wall. Unless you're playing like a ranged jungler, but there's not that many ranged junglers, right? Unless you're playing like Graves or Nidalee or something. But in most cases, like Jarvan, Vi, Maokai, Sejuani, doesn't matter, Poppy, it's hard to take that ward if support and AD can move quick, you know? They can just defend their zone here. Whereas here, I feel like there's not much zone to defend. They don't have a wall they have to play around. They can just fuck with you in the river. I don't know. Something just feels really weird about this situation. I'm not going to go through all the item changes. I'm sure you guys want a big patch rundown, or you might want a big patch rundown. I landed like 5 hours ago from a fucking 18-hour flight. My brain can't comprehend numbers right now. Plus, a lot of this might change by the time it gets to live. I think a lot of this might change because PvE will always change some shit.